Good evening. So, for the part two reflection section of our activity, we've asked us to describe our vision of an inclusive and accessible education community. So, for me, how it looks like and how it feels like is a community where we are all a part of the class. Us as teachers have a guiding light for everyone, and I believe it is our duty to make sure that every student belongs. As we saw on lesson one about pedagogy, is the methodology and process of how instructors approach teaching and learning. I think our approach has to be wider. It has to be much more focused on providing not just like learning activities and assessments, but mostly on the methodology that we use. And how it feels like is a place where everyone can be accepted, can be heard, can be respected, and can be included, right? So inclusion to me means that you are a part of the process and a part of the team, regardless of your personal situation or condition. Whether you may have some kind of disability, whether it's like a physical disability or a mental disability, whether you have come from a different country and you may have issues with the language or cultural issues. At the end of the day, as we saw in lesson two and particularly in lesson three, um, you know, disability is not like it's not an illness to be cured or an illness to be hidden away, but more like a problem that is a societal issue where people have had very very difficult um, uh, like times to understand that it is our duty to accept people regardless of where they come from and not the other way around. It's not the student that needs to make adjustments to try and understand things, but it's actually our responsibility as teachers and also about the other teammates of the classroom to make room for them, to understand them, to adjust things so that they can also be a part of the group. They can also be a part of the studying process in general. And how it looks like is, for me personally, is a classroom where you can see people from all origins, people who have like I said different studying methodologies, and they can also be a part of it. And there should be no difference between one student and the other, except understanding and adjusting things so that they can produce their own ideas and opinions and expectations. Um, so particularly like in my class, what you would see is, and this is pretty much what I'm planning for, is to make sure that my classroom, whether it's virtual or physical or both, have access for everyone, regardless of like whatever requirements they may have. They would have different tools so they can provide their feedback in many different ways. I want them to use writing if they need to, when they provide like an essay, for example, or an exercise. But if they have like say visual problems or reading issues, they may also provide videos. They may provide audios. I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to give their input in whichever way they feel is more comfortable. We cannot just force everyone to use the same format. That's just not just not inclusive. It just doesn't make sense. Um, and so nowadays we have so many tools and so many resources that it'd be a foolish act to try and follow an old-fashioned path. Um, why is this important? I feel like it's a true example of how the world has evolved and where we're heading towards. Um, in the past, and this is very unfortunate to say, but not everyone had the same opportunities and the same access to things. And thank God that's changing. Thank God that the society has understood that we all need to change the way we look at things. There's got to be a shift in our minds, in the way that we process things. And I wanted to mention something particular about the UDL. There is representation, there's expression, and then there's engagement. Right? It's a combination of the what, the how, and the why, and it all goes down to understanding that we need to make sure that everyone has a piece, everyone has a part, everyone has a chance. It's our duty It's not something that is just, you know, a random thing. Um, and the goal for me personally is um, to get to the point where having a disability, where having a condition, where having something that makes you different should not even be something to be considered. It should just be taken as normal as anything else. And it would be something that you would mention because you would need to adjust things in order to provide your responses, for example, or your essays or whatever. But other than that, it should not be an issue at all. Um, but live in an environment that is very understanding and welcoming for everyone. For personal experiences, I would say, me personally, of course, I've led. I mean, I've dealt with walls because I'm different. I come from a different country. I come from a different culture. Um, like different culture, and of course that has had an effect on how I approach things and how people tend to approach me at times. So I can definitely understand, where students would be coming from and what kind of feelings they would have, and it's very hard. And I definitely want to be a part of the change in that regard. Thank you.